Round 7 of the Aston Martin Road to Glory is here, guys, for the Spanish Grand Prix. If you haven't seen round 6, go check it out, guys. The Miami Grand Prix, of course, just like in real life, which went out on Friday. Link in the top right. Spoilers are ahead, big spoilers. So a lot happened. Go check it out and then come back to this one. But yeah, we're going to get into it and see what's cooking. So we have, as you can see, an intercooler upgrade for the engine power on the 13th, which is scheduled before the race at Spain. For now, though, bad news. Hydraulics failed, and if you stack that on top of the previous failure for the fuel tank, we have 2 back-to-back chassis failures, and these upgrades were both scheduled to arrive for this race. So instead, we're going to have to basically spend all of our points that we saved up on buying those upgrades again, which is frustrating and a waste. And to add to that, the intercooler also failed a couple of days later, which is annoying. We don't have enough points to even repurchase it, so we're going to have to wait another extra couple of days to eventually buy again the upgrade that we had planned for this race. And oh god, it's really annoying because we should have had a triple upgrade on this race, and I think we're going to have 2 instead of 3. And even then, 2 of those were repurchase upgrades. You know, we could have actually got a few more extra ones on the go, which would have really helped us out, but instead we're basically just chasing our own tail, which is really annoying. So yeah, as you can see in the performance chart, every team, literally every single one, has brought upgrades, and I'm talking massive ones. Alpine bringing a massive package of upgrades here this weekend. Mercedes, pretty much everyone doing their bit. So we make no progress, and our own upgrades, which were repurchased, meant nothing. We still have, of course, the intercooler arriving, which is guaranteed to be on the car for the next race, but again, that's a repurchase of that upgrade. So hopefully we can get a bit of luck and get a few kind of upgrades go on without failures and make some real progress. Anyway, practice, that's the best thing we can do right now to kind of help get some extra points, and that went off without a hitch. Very smooth car, working seemingly quite well. Tyre wear looking pretty decent. Fuel is a little bit higher than usual, and I didn't really pay attention to this at the time when I was doing it, but yeah. Anyway, that aside, you may have noticed at the end of that practice run, we had a pretty knackered gearbox. So I'm going to go ahead and swap in a new one for this race. As you can see, we have a pretty decent points haul for this one. We got a decent amount of R&D points, also a decent amount of discounts. So make some actual decent progress, to be fair, after that practice session, and hopefully we can make some progress at the start of the next episode. For now, though, we're going to jump into qualifying, and of course, this is where it's all decided. We're going to see exactly if those upgrades are going to help us out, if we're going to actually see a tangible pace improvement, or will it just be more of the same old story, and you know, with other teams bringing in pretty big upgrades this weekend, are we even going to notice a difference at all? Either way, the engine icon, the wear, is still on because the ICE is about 62%, which is a little bit on its last legs, but we'll try and squeeze out a race or 2 more with it. For now, though, we're going to focus on the end of the first run, and our first time lap is going to give us a 1:17.2, which puts us ahead of Sebastian Vettel, 2/10 off Lance Stroll. And to be fair, that was actually a bit better than I thought. Practice pace looked a little bit concerning. I feel comfortable with the car, but the AI just very strong here. So even though I hit a good lap and I'm happy with it, it doesn't actually mean we're fast. But yeah, the first lap was actually pretty decent, and I was a bit more encouraged knowing that there's a bit of competitiveness, you know, with us, and we're not actually a million miles away. Currently, though, I tried to go for a second push lap. I actually went for a cool down lap, and I had just enough fuel, battery tyres to go again, and I thought I'd try to improve. And to be fair, there was glimpses, you know, here and there of where I could improve, but we made a mistake out of the hairpin at turn 10, and that was going to put an end to it. So yeah, back to the garage. You see Hamilton actually improve, and we're currently 19th and a solid half a second away from getting through. So
okay, there's 2 minutes left in this session, and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap, or that's qualifying over for us.
now, as you saw, we're pretty much a full half second away from getting through. We're going to need at least 7/10 to make it, which is wishful thinking. So we'll just try to do the best we can and see if we can pull out a decent lap. So the first chicane, decently done, to be fair, getting the apexes and getting decent exit speed and traction. We stay nice and tight through 3 and don't lose the back end, so we find a bit more time. Braking at the 50, turn 4, taking a short shift to 4th to 5th just to make sure we can hit the traction, and now making our way into turn 5, try and stay tight through there, which gains us a bit of time. Exit on point, now into 7 and 8, left right chicane, important to not touch the sausage curb, And now through turn 9, we're going to keep it in 6th and try to carry that speed over the top of the hill. We actually pick up a bit of understeer and lose a bit on the exit, but still improving pretty decently into turn 10, where we spun last time, taking a bit of a wider line to get the power down and get a better drive into 11. Through the long right hand here, getting the power down really early, finding a full 10th through there, and now into the final few corners, 12, 13, 14, 15, just trying to close out the lap and making sure we nail the traction out of the chicane, which is exactly what we do. And up to the line, it's going to be a solid improvement, 0.4 of a second, and that will move us above our teammate into P17 and the 116.7. However, others went on to improve, and we got absolutely destroyed in qualifying. Yeah, man, the AI's improvement on their final lap is bonkers. Like, they find so much time on that final run. It's actually insane. So, yeah, we finished last by quite a margin, 0.3 to Lance Stroll, which is the next car up the road, and half a second away from getting through. So, to be fair, the margins are consistent. I was half a second off after the first run, half a second off after the second run. So, yeah, it's painful because I clutch up, hit a perfect lap, and it means pretty much nothing. So, yeah, we're starting last, and we have a lot of work to do if we want to try and get to the points, guys. So, yeah, qualifying done, but let's move into the main event.
Welcome then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix, a race which saw Max Verstappen take victory on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016 after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint into turn 1. This is a 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez, and Leclerc. Sainz, Ricciardo, Magnussen, and Esteban Ocon. Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Alex Albon, and Joe. Bottas, Vettel, Pierre Gasly, and Yuki Tsunoda. Stroll and Martinez. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
So, last place and P20, everything is pretty much on the table. We've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Simple as that, really. So, we're going to go for it. That means starting on the hard tire. We're going to see if we can stay competitive, have decent pace on the hards, and then eventually move on to the medium and have the advantage later on in the race. Overtaking is pretty difficult here, so I'm also using that tire advantage in mind that later on we might have a stronger race. Also, the idea of the hard tyres to go a bit longer and basically overcut a couple of cars. Hopefully that works out. We have got decent tyre wear and we can push really hard on the end of the stint. And then also fuel-wise, we go for 0.5 extra. I think I can go a bit lower than that, but I'm not too certain, so I won't take too much of a risk. Either way, like I said, we've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. And after Miami, which we should have scored some big points, I'm hungry to try and fight my way into the top 10. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll give it a shot. Prediction, as always, guys, in the comments if you're watching up to this point, and leave a like on the video, and let's get into it. And hopefully, we can get a result. So tyres nicely warmed up in the right window. Let's line up on the grid and hopefully have a decent first lap. I'm not really too concerned about making progress. I just want to get through cleanly and have no dramas. Like I said, tyres are a bit of a disadvantage, so we're not going to really have that sort of pace. Right, sound, away we go. Excellent. First phase at the start, second phase. Second phase not so bad either, to be fair, but into turn 1. Just going to be a little bit cautious. Also, we'll wait and see. Maybe there's some other cars and hard tyres possibly, although I highly doubt it. But now though, everyone's pretty well behaved and mostly single file, a couple of 2 wides up ahead. A little bit of action going on, and those guys on softs obviously looking to make progress as Stroll with a lovely little overtake there, getting past, or trying to get past both Alpha Tauris. Bit of a check-up up ahead, so we're going to have a look around the outside of Yuki here. But it's 3 wide up ahead into the chicane. I can see that in the distance. That's going to cause a bit of chaos. I don't feel very confident on these tyres at the minute. Feels like I've got ice blocks on. So we'll just try and get the confidence up a little bit before we start to really get aggressive and make things happen. Mercedes 1-2 out front, so we'll see how that affects the race. But for now, it's a pretty safe first lap. And we'll just basically stick at it. If anything happens, you'll know about it. Wow, there's a big train up ahead. Something's happened because we suddenly just bunched up massively in the final sector. And there's a Ferrari in the pits, it's Leclerc.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
So visibly, seems like we are way down on straight line speed. Either that or the AI are using battery steel. Either way, DRS now enabled, so important that we try and stay within a second. Just got to try and get through the first, I'd say, 7-8 laps, and then we can start to make things happen. The mediums won't be as fresh anymore. We may even see some of the soft runners start to pit and open up the field a little bit, so things will start to happen around lap 8. So just got to try and basically stick with it for now, get the confidence up, not take too much out of the tyres, and also crucially keep the battery intact. Right then, dropped out of the DRS range. Right now everyone's running at a pretty strong pace, so I'm not able to keep up. I'll try and use the battery to close in, but at the minute everyone's behaving, everyone's single file, no 2 wide battles, so they're basically running at a very strong pace, which is being led by the McLarens at the front of the train. Okay, Russell in the pit lane. I'm not sure if he started on softs, but he's onto a set of hards, which does tell me he probably did start on those, so he's going to go to the end now, which is a pretty long way to go, to be fair, on that set of tyres, but doable nonetheless. I am very concerned about fuel. We are going down rapidly. The good news, we've got ourselves back in DRS range, as the train has completely broken, so we're now in this little lower end of the midfield scrap, which does run into the point, just, but yeah, got to try and save some fuel now. That's the real key concern, so I'm going to have to sit behind and basically coast for a bit. Oh, Albon off. Lets a couple of cars through. I'm guessing he's struggling on that soft tyre now, which would be normal. I've got some thoughts. I think starting on this tyre was a big mistake. I should have started on medium, because I could have easily got to the front of this train, possibly even started on softs to be fair, but I could have got to the front of this train and basically just, you know, put myself up in like P10, P11. Even though that's not my pace, we could have put ourselves up there and basically got away from all this battling, which is losing a lot of time and it's basically ruining our strategy. This is in a way I'm hoping anyway that I can still pull this back by going for the overcut and going long, because the AR will keep battling once they pit and kind of reforming the train. So I'm hopeful that once that's happened, we can basically run in clean air and push. So yeah, right now Albon's got damage. I've realised that in the last 2 corners, as you see Stroll and Tsunoda get past, so we're going to try and look to get by, although I think he's probably going to pit this out, to be fair. I'm saving fuel now, and quite nicely as well, because it's a key thing. Russell is also approaching, so it won't take long for him to arrive on the scene. Let's see if I can get Albon here and nail him into turn 10. I'll take a warning if it means we get through. Just like that. Thank you very much. Albon tries to get back underneath, but we won't let that happen. There should be more cars in the pits, as we have a moment there. Let's try and get DRS on Yuki, make sure we don't lose that, as that's precious for us. I've just missed it. Yes, we have. Didn't quite make it. That's annoying. Albon does pit, and so does Latifi, so let's push on. Important phase here to try and stay on pace. Okay, this lap we'll get DRS. No doubt about it. No more cars in the pit lane, so important phase here to try and push on. Tsunoda without DRS as we set a personal best. Okay, George all over my gearbox, looking to get by. He'd be a decent car to follow, in fairness, and those on mediums should be pitting very soon. So what I will do here is not put up a fight if Russell goes for the move. But right now his straight line speed isn't convincing, so I'm going to actually get the juice on. Like Mercedes isn't fast on the straight, so not going to be a convincing move, so we'll stay in front for now anyway. So Lance has caught back up to that train of cars that we was in before. And to be fair, we're about to catch back up. It's interesting because it's a crucial phase of the race where we could finish ahead of all of those cars because they're stuck in the train. It's just about timing and having the right strategy. So we'll have the better tyres later on. So if I can hang on to Russell when eventually he passes me, that would be perfect. That would literally be the ideal scenario here because his pace would be enough to drag me above these guys, especially if they even start to battle. Just the remotest, slightest bit of battling, that would just cost them so much time that we would have an advantage. Here we go, cars pitting. So now we're going to get movement.
Lance is in for his stop.
Okay, so we'll let George go. This is now
Approaching the pit window, and you're going to be on mediums.
good timing on the strategy. We'll see if Leclerc will pit soon because he pit early for damage, so he should be in again soon. Technically, we're racing Leclerc in terms of strategy. We've both got one stop left. Okay, so Russell has dropped us. So Leclerc's going to go through. I'm not going to fight this. Should be an easy move for him. Bunch of other cars in the pits. We'll let Leclerc cruise through. Again, losing minimal time. We'll try and stay in his DRS until he pits. And there we go, Leclerc pits. I knew it wouldn't take long. And Perez in there as well, as is Norris.
In this lap, push now.
We'll try and extend by a couple more laps if we can. I'll judge it based off pace. One more lap. Decent pace. We've matched our personal best.
Gap to your teammate behind is 20.6 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. They're currently 17th place. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 20.0.
Okay, we're quicker than Stroll, so we'll keep at it. Personal best. Insane final sector. We're pulling away from Hamilton here, I'm matching his pace. Look at that massive train, by the way, in Sector 3. It's huge.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 21.1 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. They're currently 16th. And the time last lap was a 1:20.7.
We're staying out. That train's so big, so many cars. They're not even fast. We'll keep at it.
Okay, clear.
That could be a result. I'll take even just a virtual safety car. Let's wait and see what happens. Ocon out the race. Looks like no safety car or virtual safety car, which is a shame. Could have got lucky there straight away. Got a bit of that luck back from the last race. We're going to pick this lap. I think I'm just going to go for it. I don't want to, try too hard, do too much. Also, we're running a bit tight on fuel, so we need to stop to get the fuel back on target, and then I'm have to sit in the train for a bit. But this pit stop is key. This has to be perfect. And that was very, very good. Great entry. Onto the medium as we go. We need no failures like the last race. It has to be perfect. 2.2 would be ideal. 2.3, lovely. We put it away perfectly. P8 right now. It's going to be close, actually. We could get right in the mix here.
Look after these tyres now and want to finish the race on this compound.
We're going to use the battery straight away. I'm actually going to sit in behind Leclerc because realistically we're not going to beat Charles, but P11 on a fresh medium. We're now right back in the race. Overcut, worked out beautifully. So I was justified in my strategy. I thought I was made the wrong decision, starting on hard, but we pulled it back in the end and it was worth it. Let Leclerc go. He's a good car to follow, to be fair, if we can get onto him. First things first though is saving a bit of battery and fuel. That would be nice. But these two are still going at it. Just going to try and see if I can do a bit of lift and coast. Get some fuel back on target. Seb's going to look for the move. We'll just defend the inside. I've been tagged in the rear by Seb there. That wasn't very nice, mate. Not appreciated at all. I was trying to leave the outside open for Stroll. But anyway, that's giving him damage. And actually Hamilton pits, so we'll gain a place. That will move us into the points. So I think P8 is on the table today. That's a realistic finishing position. So we'll just try and save a bit of fuel and get the battery to 100%, and then we'll start to push. Magnussen re-overtakes Leclerc, interestingly. These three are going at it quite heavily. I'm getting a nice chance here to basically lift and just cruise and get the fuel back on target. Battery now fully recharged, so one more lap and we can start to push. I think Leclerc's got damage. At some point, battling with these two, he's given himself end-play damage because Magnussen re-overtook and is now driving off, and Norris has now got through. So scratch P8, we can finish P7 this race. So my plan here, I know the McLaren's got some very good straight line speed, but my plan is to see if I can get the 2-for-1 special. I don't think our straight line speed's that great, but we're about to find out. There we go. Yeah, we've got no chance of getting Norris, but we'll reel in Leclerc. Oh, we just squeezed through. I was a bit worried there about him cutting me up there, but managed to just get through the gap. So that's Leclerc taken care of. Let's get after Lando now. He's also got damage. He's losing time in the corners. He's missing apexes and just struggling in general. It's important actually that we get Magnussen. That's the one, because of course Haas scored big in the last race with Schumacher. They overtook us in the constructors. So if we finish ahead of Magnussen, we can gain that place back. So that is the sole objective now in this race, to finish ahead of K-Mag, and I'll do everything in my power to get ahead of him. We can see there Lando's struggling a lot, nowhere near the apex, so we'll look to line him up here. We know the McLaren straight line speed's good, so need to be close, and we'll use all the battery if required. There we go then, personal best, and we're now going to use all the power we have. I want to get that inside line, which is much better. And there we go, job done. Nice clean pass, much better than before. Now let's try and get onto K-Mag ASAP. I was hoping to be within a second, but not quite close enough. However, absolutely flying around here. 18.0. I thought that might have just been a fast lap of the race.
The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1 minute 17.7.
Never mind, the goalpost move. The last time I checked it was 18.0, so I tried to go for the point, but just lacked a bit of pace there. Also the nice DRS slipstream down the main straight, so we'll forget about the point for now. Let's try and get that P7. Yellow flag. Turn 3 is out of Red Bull. Is that a race leader? Well, I guess we'll find out in a moment. Will it trigger a late safety car? Will there be late drama in this race?
Okay, information on Verstappen. Okay, they're out of this race.
So I believe Max was leading the race, and he's out as we get DRS on Magnussen. So we'll spend a couple of laps recharging, and then we'll go for the move. But I think this move on Verstappen is going to gain us an extra place, so we're looking at a P6 finish in this race. Not ideal that Gasly's in the top 5, but
Caution, caution.
you win some, you lose some. But here we go, confirmation.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
Verstappen out of the race, lovely. Let's try and get P6 then. K-Mag's getting a little bit quick for my liking. I'm struggling to keep up here, so we're going to have to look to get the move done a little bit earlier than I'd like, because I'm a little bit concerned I might not get another chance. So here we go. We're going to drain everything, but we're lacking a bit of straight line speed, man. Tried to force him defensive there, but he didn't bite the bait. We'll stay on him and not give this one up. A little bit too far back here as well, I think, anyway. And now he'll go into full power mode on this final lap, so just got to try and look for the pass. This exit has to be perfect. Good enough. More than good enough, that will do. Right, let's get this one done. Last lap of the race. Magnussen defends. Warning for track limits. Not much I could have done there. I was running out of space, but we're through. And it's done. Crucially, let's bring it home. Although I'll say that, Magnussen's going to fight, so we're going to cover off the inside. He chooses, or refuses to go to the outside and just drives into the back of us, so that is going to take the pressure off. Thank you, Magnussen, mate. End of the race, great recovery, and we get a nice slice of luck with the 3 retirements and some good racing IQ as well at the right time to bring home 8 well-deserved points. And after Miami, this tastes very sweet, so happy with that. Checkered flag, we'll take that.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Now that result has been overshadowed by Mick Schumacher finishing on the podium. I'm not going to lie, I saw on the minimap he was running high, but I thought he was a lap down. I didn't realise he was running in net P3. And to be fair, pace-wise was only 3 seconds off Sainz. That's a big surprise, really big surprise. Russell dominates, he had no dramas, led from start to finish. Mercedes looked very strong, but what a race for all the heavy hitters. Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, both McLarens, all of them in trouble, Leclerc. A crazy race, and Schumacher third, Latifi fourth in the Alpine, which is also a pretty insane result in itself. Gasly also P5 in what is one of the worst cars on the grid. P6 for us, Magnussen P7, important that we finish ahead of him because of that Schumacher result. And then Norris P8, Leclerc P9, and Lance Stroll actually nicked a point in the end. So very happy to see that. He nicked it by 200ths over Hamilton, so only just getting it, but crucially, an extra point. So happy days. Lance's second points finish this season, and then missing out on the top 10 was Lewis, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Bottas, Perez, Zhou, Albon, Seb with a fastest lap, and then Verstappen and Ocon out the race. So standings, we're up to 8th. Schumacher with that podium is just 2 points behind, and then there's quite a gap up ahead to Hamilton, Sainz. To be fair, we're pretty much best of the rest right now, so that's all we can really hope for at this stage. If we just scroll down to Lance on 3 points, is equal with Albon, but doesn't change position. In the constructors, we actually dropped to 7th as Haas and Alpine scored big points. So yeah, a bittersweet. We scored points, but it wasn't our day. AlphaTauri also 15 points now in their name with that great result for Pierre. So a bittersweet race, good result, but all our rivals scored big, and it makes me think about that Miami race again. If we could have just finished in that P5, could have had 10 extra points right now and be equal with Haas, but it is what it is. It's going to be a season-long battle, guys, and we're going to have to fight with everything we've got every single race, guys. So yeah, that is it for this one and today's episode at Spain. Next up, I believe, is Monaco. So guys, if you're excited for that one, subscribe for more if you've enjoyed that race. And yeah, as always, a big shout out to the members. Check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them, guys, already, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, and that's goodbye from me.